It's a job you read about in a science book, but paleontologists do more than just dig up fossils. They also spend time closely studying their finds to learn more about the lives of past animals.
KX News' Guy Gregory was at the North Dakota Heritage Center today, where he discovered a fossil that was left by a dinosaur that once roamed our area millions of years ago.
Back in the day, about 66 million years ago, long before the grain fields of today dotted the landscapes of North Dakota, dinosaurs roamed among vast stretches of swamps and lands marked by dense forests. Among the many different creatures that lived at that time was the duck-billed dinosaur, a ground-dwelling dinosaur.
The species is Edmontosaurus. It's a very large dinosaur, could get up to 40 feet long, but Dakota wasn't a fully grown individual, was only about 23 feet long when it died, so probably a subadult.
Dakota was just growing up before it died and ate the lush vegetation in the area.
So they're plant eaters. The reason they're called duck-billed dinosaurs is they have a beak in the very front of their mouth that they could use to snip off vegetation, but they still did have teeth for chewing, but they're in the very back of the mouth.
During its life, Dakota hung out in the once marshy lands near present-day Marmarth, North Dakota, close to the Montana border where the fossil was found.
It was found in a little isolated hill that was about 20 feet wide, just a little outcrop sitting by itself.
A high school student first discovered the fossil while out on a hike in the Badlands area in 1999. It wasn't until 2008 when the North Dakota Geological Survey would acquire the fossil and begin work on preparing it for display.
Dakota's tail tip is currently on display here at the Heritage Center. After closely examining the fossil, scientists hypothesized that when the dinosaur was alive, Dakota may have been bitten by a medium-sized predator.
The main predator for this animal would be T-Rex, would probably be the main thing that was hunting these things down. And they didn't have a lot of defensive features. They didn't have like horns or claws or anything like that. What they did for protection is they lived in very large herds, kind of like modern bison do.
Although only the tail tip is on display, along with Dakota's right arm and left foot, paleontologists continue the tedious task of preparing the main part of the dinosaur's body for future display.
It's going to be several years yet before we get that finished, and before that block, the main body block, can go on display, we're probably going to have to do a partial revamp of the main geologic time gallery because that's the only place it's going to fit at.
Boyd says the next part of the fossil, which includes much of what remains of Dakota's body, will have to come out in one piece, and he adds that work could take several more years to complete. Once that happens, the entire specimen will be complete and ready for public display.
Dakota's had about 20,000 hours of work that's gone into cleaning it up, and we've got about another 8,000 to 10,000 more hours to go is our estimate, which should put us right at about 2029 or so. And so if we can get the planning done and the funding put together to get the specimen up here on display, then hopefully before the end of the decade it'll go up.
Once complete, people will get a little more insight into the life of an animal that once roamed our same area, but on an entirely different terrain. Reporting for KX News, I'm Guy Gregory.
Dakota's fossil pieces are currently on display at the North Dakota Heritage Center in Bismarck. You can view them and also learn a little more about history of Dakota's life.
For more information on what they currently have on display, you can click on this story just by going to kxnet.com.